Peace and blessings, family. This is your boy, Youre. It is the 16th of August, 2017, Wednesday. You're halfway through your work week, and I hope you're well. Sidestepping the negativity by grounding your feet, but most importantly, placing God first in everything you do, because it's about your legacy. It's about what that last name stands for. It's about honoring those who have paved the way for your progression. But see, I understand, family, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of passion being misdirected to convince you not to see your work. But you know, if you just allow yourself to be vigilant by listening, be observant to your environment, the telltale signs of the attempt will be revealed to you. Haven't you noticed nowadays when you look on the boob tube and there's a new show that may have the theme of reality, the first thing that comes in the pitch is very subtle. They'll say it's an experiment. It's a new angle, a new direction of viewing. Have you ever wondered who or even why they come up with such programming, but more importantly, when they decide to air it, who is the demographic that they're trying to entice or influence? Because we do also understand that nothing is done with some type of monetary gain. We also know that just from a literal sense, you only use 6% of that beautiful mind. So the intent is to latch on. What caught my attention these last couple days? I know the media made sure that the focus stayed on a lot of bad behavior, a lot of fear. You know, fear, finally everything's a reality. Just to place that uncomfortable nudge in your emotions. Oh, yes. But see, I'm a firm believer of this, family. The moment that you decide to become discomfort, to be uncomfortable in your comfort zone, all that's going to do is spark growth. It's going to shake up what is stagnant. It's going to reveal to you that what's ever so present. Because, I'm not trying to bang the gong, but the truth of the matter is, what's at stake is what you stand for. And your greatest lesson that you'll ever come to know is not found on a college campus. It's not found in a retail establishment. It is found in you. So the question should be asked, when are you going to go within yourself to get to know yourself? When are you going to allow that voice that has always been there? We know that as your spirit, because you're a spiritual being first. Don't fool yourself and think that, well, it's all about flesh and bone and that's all it is. No. Because I, not to sound crass, could burn you up like a French fry, and guess what? You survive. Well, what do you think is pushing that motivation to live? It's your spirit. It's the real you. Not who you know, not what's found in your pocket, not where you lay your head. It is that little boy and little girl that still demands and requires your devotion. And see, here's the irony of it, because we have so many people in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you that refuse to claim their lives. They're quick to want to play or demarginalize their position and take a stance of being a martyr. There's no reward in being a martyr. Nor is there a reward on being a card-carrying victim. You know, victim, doormat, scapegoat, person that is the pawn, the patsy. Because if you're treating your life like it is a game of chess, you've already lost. Because the greatest move that you'll ever make is not found on that board. The greatest move you'll ever embrace is the moment that you decide to embrace your intimacy. Into me I see. And the only way that can be done is the moment that you establish a relationship with him. I don't know why we refuse to skip past that part. But the metaphors and the examples are still ever so present that was experienced back when Moses and the children of Israel marched around that mountain for 40 years. You realize in 40 years, a lot of people died. In 40 years, there was a lot of people across as their bodies grew weary. In those 40 years, a lot of people finally broke through their fears. You know, fear. Finally, everything's a reality, family. What is your reality? Do you like your reality? Or do you choose to just fit conveniently in a box to embrace a position or a label? Because for some reason we like to embrace certain positions, but fail to overlook the fact that your actions are accountable. You are the living. Well, back in the day when I was a teenager, we had cassette tapes, and then we have VCR tapes. And for those who are parents, you don't have to worry about that, because all that you say and do is embraced by your children. And that's what's frightening, because we're seeing the events, the evidence of 20 plus years of non-accountability. We're seeing it in the generation that will come behind the Generation Xer. See, I'm a Generation Xer. I grew up as a teenager through the 80s. And yes, in my 40s, I do understand with humility what my elders, what my parents, what my loved ones, and those who I was blessed to come in contact, even for a moment, was trying to convey. Because you do understand that God does not waste not one moment when it comes to your life. But it matters not until you decide to claim it. I mean, because I know somebody right now, they're in their feelings right now. They're in their feelings. They don't like what I'm saying, but let's be clear. It's called cut it off. But guess what? I still got love for you. I still want you to find happiness. I still want your life to be as fruitful as it was meant the moment you took your first breath. But see, I understand this too. You have some that like and choose to take the path of the wicked too. I understand that. Because it is free will, family. It is. And I also understand why those last few moments when Jesus was on that cross, the last proclamation he said was, Lord, they know not what they do. Because if you did, you would take your life more serious. You would not allow your distractions to rob you of your dreams, your hopes. You would allow your motivation to become your passion. Who am I talking to? How many examples of disappointment do you have to take before you finally accept that those people you break bread never had your best intentions? How many unsettling moments do you have to put in your emotional backpack? I call it your spiritual backpack. For you to finally come to terms with that person came into your life to use you as the supplier, the free ride. And they actually think that, well, I got a kid by you, so I ain't got to do nothing. Let me tell you something. Unless you are preparing for unfathomable pain that is in your future, you have to allow yourself to be uncomfortable in your comfort zone to have your blessing released, because that's what's on the other side. But as long as you do nothing, as long as you allow them to disrespect you, as long as you decide not to speak your truth, what's the point on speaking truth if you don't claim it first? Because see, let me explain something to somebody, because I know you feel in a certain kind of way because you're saying, well, Gerald, I got needs and I like doing things a certain way, but I know this is not good for me. Do you have a fetish for a glutton? Do you enjoy disrespect? Do you enjoy them in silence, mocking your name, disrespecting you? I ain't gonna tell you that. Just look at the environment. Because the people that should be around you right now should be the living example of what inspires you. So if they're not building, you think they're going to allow you to build? No, they're going to keep you distracted. That person that you're supposed to be studying for that test, right? Who am I talking to? Phone been ringing off the hook, hasn't it? Oh, I'm scaring you now? No, I feel your energy. This is to let you know, get back on path. Because that degree that you're going to use is going to unlock a door that is going to impact many. But see, we live in an environment where it's about show. I used to have this saying, I don't know where I picked it up when I was younger, is that I would say people like to show their teeth, And I never did understand it because these are the same people that will never take ownership or accountability for the actions that they do. So while you're allowing your energy to be focused outside your door, who's taking care of what's going on inside? Hmm? It is always said that it takes one to usher change. I believe that's a collective process, but until you're able to look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you love you, can you usher in that door love? Energy out is energy return, family. You are what you attract. So if you don't like what's in your environment, why won't you change it? What are you afraid of? You're going to be alone for a little bit? You're afraid that you're not going to get the validation that you think you need? That's a want. That's a distraction. Because the moment that you decide to do this work, and make this no bones about it, the work has to be done. There's no shortcut when it comes to your life. And because those people that wish to take shortcuts, cut their life short. I don't have to remind you. Look at the TV. You know, the daily propaganda. Haven't you noticed? Doesn't matter what channel you turn on, they're saying the same thing. So who's really pulling the strings? Who is making sure that the same dialogue is received from all points of interest? And that's a different subject in itself, because let's point this out. I remember when there was a time where you had radio stations in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you. You had different formats. Some were categorized in certain genres of music, but not no more. Not no more, huh? Everybody's listening to the same thing at the same time, promoting the same message, but yet we feel a certain kind of way when that influence rubs off on our children. Maybe that means you need to be a better parent. I say this with love. I say this with passion. I say this with unconditional commitment, because you deserve to have the life intended. Yeah, I'm gonna get on you, kings, because you're not pulling your weight. I'm gonna hold you accountable, queens, because you're allowing yourself to be disrespected. You do understand there's no reward in denial, right? You can't turn around and lump a demographic under one umbrella and say, well, that's the way I'm the way I am. No, you're that way because you choose to be that way. And until you choose not to do that way, you're going to keep receiving the same. That's where the hypocrisy begins. Because until you see your worth will not be required. You do understand we, you, I, we teach people how to treat us. It's not the other way around. So if you're condoning bad behavior, if you're condoning disrespect, you can't blame them. You can't. Because guess what? You put yourself there to bear witness or to feel the effect. But here's the irony of that. You still don't believe God exists. And as long as you choose to have that position, the devil will have free reign. You're doing half the work. As the allegory once was put out long ago, the greatest trick the devil ever did was to convince man he didn't. So look outside your world. I think it's kind of funny, but in a figurative way, that you have those that think that as long as I acquire a certain financial status, I can move anywhere I choose to exclude what's going on in my reality. But little do you know, you are choosing to take a position of self-imprisonment. Why do we not see that? Because they think, well, as long as I'm in a gated community, I ain't got to deal with it. Yeah, to a certain extent. So you're paying for your imprisonment. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, the same things that have been going on since the beginning of time is still playing out today. And I believe that is the reason why history repeats itself. Why? Number one, you exist. You didn't have to wake up today, family. So right there, your life is not bad, because there are people that woke up yesterday, they didn't wake up today. And I guarantee you, if they could have 5 minutes of what you had, they would take that. They would take that. But the sad thing about it is, in a town near you, in a city near you, in a state near you, there are countless cemeteries with people in it that shouldn't be there. There are lifelines that were cut short because of choice. Because of decisions made. That's someone's mother. There's someone's son, who would have been someone's father, someone's uncle or aunt. And I understand we could easily lump it and say, well, Gerald, that's just life. But the question should be asked, are you living yours? Are you? This is my message to you. You still got a whole lot of life to live. That's why I've always echoed through the years, Queen. Stop looking for your man. Stop. Prepare. Prepare for him. And the greatest way to prepare for your mate is for you to fall in love with yourself. You know, as I just said, energy out is energy return. Because God is not going to give you what you don't need. So he's not going to give you a blessing for you to deliberately squander it either. He's not going to do that. And I know that there's a lot of people out here that have stones, roots inside their spirit, and you think that that is justifiable for your actions, and you think that your life is going to turn out just great. Didn't God tell you he is the great I am? He is the Alpha and the Omega. So you can see right there in that pause, that's your lifeline. How well you think your life is going to turn out without it. And I understand, family, because there's so much people out here that want to convince you you don't need God. You need man. Well, look what's going on outside your door right now. Because you got a lot of scared little people and grown-up bodies influencing little people to act in such a way. It takes more courage to have dialogue You can't fix anything without dialogue. You know, it's so funny though, because you see people out there, they got their, you don't even realize what's going on. It's like they're trying to lump people up through a certain mindset of, okay, he's the rocker, he's the country western person, he's the hip hop guy, and he's the Latino. And that's the track you're supposed to be on. It's called diversity. It's called free will. It's called your life. And if you don't see the value of your life, your environment will be the direct reflection of your state of mind. So I say this to somebody because you spend a lot of time watching TV. You spend a lot of time. You can recite back, front to back, exactly who said what, when they did what, and you are heavily engrossed in what they're promoting. Well, let me show you something different. Next time you watch whatever it is, I challenge you. When it comes on, cut the volume off. Put it on mute. And look at the screen. I'm going to tell you what you're going to see. You're going to see anger, dysfunction, alcohol abuse, and promiscuity. You're not going to see any unity there. And guess what? We're at a point now, they don't care about sensitivity when it comes to your children. They don't care. They've taken a position, as some have said, I'm not a role model. It is your responsibility to be the influence. So that's non-accountability right there, because the fact that you put that out there, therefore you have put money to invest a certain dynamic to be promoted. See, family, what I'm trying to get you to understand, I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, we had this term called You'll Want To Be. And there was nothing wrong with being inspired if it was positive, but you got no support if you were a wannabe. That's like an athlete knowing he's supposed to prepare only to squander an opportunity of being able to show his talent. In other words, as long as you choose not to claim your life, you might as well go ahead and sign your bank account, your life potential. You're basically a modern day slave, because they're going to benefit off of all your efforts until you decide to claim it back. I'm saying, I'm keeping this real. Stop saying to yourself, I'm going to be just like them. You didn't put the work in. Stop blaming it on, well, it's the man. It's this, it's that. No, it's you. You choose to have a love affair with your pain. And let's talk about pain. Until you decide to acknowledge what's broken, you can't heal. And guess what? It's not your responsibility to ensure they heal. That's their choice. The choice is for you to be there and go through it. Maybe what's only meant is for you to look at the example, find the commonalities, and learn from it. Because guess what? Misery loves company, family. But here's the funny thing. What's this? You realize how much money is made in the beauty supply business? You realize how much money? Almost $1 billion a year, right? But yet you don't hear nobody talking about, why don't I take some of that money and buy the stock of the product? Why don't we talk about that? Because guess what? The companies, the people that don't use the product, don't use your products, they making money off of you. Because that's exactly what they doing. And I know somebody's going to turn around and say, oh, you just being racist. No, I'm not. I'm putting you on game. I'm putting you on game and letting you know that right now. That's why you don't see certain images on certain boxes, but you do see who runs it, who owns it. Well, you see who owns the location, but you don't see who owns the distribution. But we definitely know who uses it, right? Why's that? This is not being shameful. This is not. I'm listen. I am an advocate when it comes to natural beauty. Queen, I don't care what them clowns tell you. You're beautiful the moment you woke up. You know that natural hue of your complexion? Mm-hmm. That's you. There'll never be another you. But as long as you want to get into that sorority out there called Me Find Me, guess what? Their job is to convince you not to claim you back. And to each his own, it's your life. But don't be surprised in about 10, 15 years that sacred temple known as your body says enough. Hmm? We are what we eat, family. Your white blood cells can only do but so much. But when you try to do reconstruction of what was made perfect, there's always going to be a price that's going to be paid. I'm saying this because I love you. Because he lays on top of you doesn't mean he's going to be your tomorrow. And any man that is walking in your life, if he's not building for himself, he's definitely not building for you. Who am I talking to? But you got this pimp and prostitute mindset being infused in society, and people are using that as a justification for their ignorance and bad behavior. How long do you think your life is going to play out with the mindset you got? Because as long as you keep that position, you are being held hostage from your direction. I ain't got to tell you that. We are in a shortage of men teaching their boys how to be men and leaving that responsibility to the media. The child's only going to do what is found and condoned in its environment. And I know, Queens, you mad because you're saying, I don't need a man to take care, raise my boy. But you better humble yourself, because without that man, you wouldn't be a mother. And on the flip, you may be a father that has a daughter. You better humble yourself, because no matter what you do, no matter what provision is given, that little girl will need the influence of a positive woman. I know somebody's saying, well, no, I don't, Gerald. I got the YouTube. I'll look at that on, and I'll figure it out. And you wonder why she turns into a tomboy. Matter of fact, you have a father that has boys and has one daughter. She's going to take on the traits of the environment. She's going to be just rough and tough as her brothers, because the brothers they're going to do everything they can to make her life tough. From being a WWE, to being out there playing football or whatever, because the collective is the family. So let's flip the script. I have a son, and his environment is nothing but women. You think he's not going to take on the mannerisms and the behaviors of his environment? Sure he will. Sure he will. That's natural. That's a natural process. That's the environment that we learn from what makes our environment. So if you're reared in an environment where all you saw was mama getting drunk, being abusive, being destructive, you're going to rebel. But you're going to take in everything that you saw too. Why won't you see it for what it is? So I'm going to bring this home, family, because I know somebody, you're starting your day, it's early. Don't fall for all this race baiting going on. This is nothing but fear. These emotional triggers, and they want you to be distracted from where you're headed. Now more than ever, this is the time that you need to stay prayed up. Stay prayed up and allow God to allow his angels to place a position of protection around you. Because as long as you stay prayed up, guess what, family? Those who do not have the best interest of your life won't have access to your life. You will see them be divided from you. And you deserve to be happy. But don't sleep on that devil. He's a line in the brush, waiting for you to backslide, get comfortable again. Because as soon as you become comfortable, there go your money, there go that disappointment, there's that non-accountability, only to get you to think impulsively and do something not in your best interest to what? Set you back. How much is your life worth? I know mine is priceless. So, you going to listen to them, or you going to listen with them? You're worth it. There'll never be another you. But we must all do the work required. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. I'm going to tell you what, y'all. You got people worrying about You're spending more time worrying about the eclipse. That eclipse has more value than you think. You need to be aware of what comes from the shadows and be fortified. That's why history repeats itself, family. Nothing is by chance. You know why? Because God, He loves you so much. He's asking you through events. Did you get the message? Do you understand? Because if you do, you'll do what's needed. Wow. Oh, before I go, you hear a lot of people socially using the term woke. Half the people don't even understand that word. Because when you woke, you walk in humility. You are authentic. So when the next time someone says, I'm woke, ask them, what does woke mean to you? If they automatically go to a social uh, aspect, they have no clue. Because woke is wisdom obtained, knowledge embraced. Do you know who you are? Because if you did, you would also understand what's required for your legacy. Be blessed.